Okay, now we'll start this recording so the people who are at Black Hat hopefully can get some of this. Okay, so gradebook's up to date. Please take a look. Make sure you agree with what is in there. I always strive to make sure I never give you any grades that you think are unfair or that you don't think you deserved or earned. So if I made a mistake, please let me know. Or if you turn something in and you don't think I graded it, let me know. Okay, with that, so we're going to finish up NASCAR for today. This is, again, my favorite assignment of all time, and hopefully we'll get it racing shortly. And then this is going to help you do your assignment dramatically if you follow along. Next time we'll get into vehicle launch code, which is a template that you can follow that will help you do your zoo assignments. All right, so to recap, we have two lists. And remember, there's an easy way and a hard way. You could technically use a car class and create 20 cars by writing 20 lines of code, and in each line of code you feed it a name and a sponsor. That's the hard way. The easy way is to use a for loop and build a list of cars, and then taking their names and sponsors off of the names and sponsor list using the subscript in your for loop. That does it automatically with one line of code. And here we are building the 3 cars, and then we're printing each car after we build it. Now, by the way, this is something I have not mentioned to you before, but it is very, very important for you to understand. When you create this first car object or any car object out of your car class, first of all, what is it called when I'm using a class to make something? What is that term that I said last class? No, method is like the function in a class. But I call when the creation of the object is also called instantiation. So this is an car 1, for instance, would be an instantiation of the car class. So the first time you create, build, or instantiate an object out of a class, so I'm creating car 1, it runs your def init for you. It will automatically run init. So this method, init is a method in car class, and that method gets automatically called as soon as you instantiate an object or create an object with the class. It runs one time at the beginning of creation. After that, init does not run unless you call it again. Okay? So that's why once I create this car, the first car, it already has these things initialized. It's going to have the name, the sponsor, and these will be 0 because it ran init. Okay, so now I have the cars. They're not racing yet. We do have a method though. The method generates a speed from a random integer and then sets self.speed, its speed attribute, to that number. And then it sets its self.miles, or the odometer, to a cumulative plus equals the speed over 60, which is miles per minute. So it adds the number of miles you have driven in that minute. So when you run a car 1, for instance, .update, it will update car 1. So how about this? Let's write next a loop that does all 20 cars and it updates them one time. So that's like simulating a minute. Later, that loop is going to have to be in another loop because you don't just have 1 minute of race time, but you work from the inside out. When you're building a complex program like this, don't try and do the whole thing and think through it. Get a little piece of it. I have a list of cars. Now let's just simulate them for 1 minute. So for x in range len name. Now what we're going to do is say car sub x dot update. And now we will print car sub x. Okay, now let's run this. And yeah, okay, just run it, see what we get. Okay, so here it created the three cars, Mark, Steve, and Kim. And they're all initialized. Then it printed the three cars over again, but notice 3 different speeds and 3 different distances. This happened after the update. So update works. So what does this loop do? Well, this loop, this part updates all cars for each minute. This part creates the car objects from the car and sponsor lists. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. Okay, but now we need to run this. We need to run this until somebody reaches 500 miles. What does that mean? This loop, update car, update car, update car, has to happen until something is true. Well, if you're doing it until a condition, what type of loop is that? A while loop. Yes, a while loop. So you say while some condition. So now we need to make something up. All right, while racing double equals true. So now we better start racing equal to be true. Racing equals true to get in here. Now while racing double equals true, colon, and then now we have to indent all this. Okay. All right, so racing is true. Now we have an infinite loop. This thing is just going to keep on running forever. Okay. So now we need a way to make racing false. Racing is going to be false when car sub x dot miles is greater than 500, right? Okay, so we update the car, we print the car. Now, if car sub x dot miles is greater than or equal, well, greater than, we'll make it greater than 500, then racing equals false. It'll leave the loop. Okay? All right. Now, okay. For x in range. Okay, and then it'll do the next one. It'll leave. Okay, it'll leave racing equals false. Then it goes back in for x in range. Okay, it'll update all the cars. And the first time it hits one, racing is false. Oh, it doesn't get there till it's done. So it'll do all the cars. Okay. All right, it's going to do all the cars even if racing turns false. and then it's going to determine if the race is over. Okay, now here's the important part. We need a sorting command. We need to sort this list. And I think I had everybody copy down the context from the other assignment. Let me see if I can find it. Where did I have that thing? Hold on a second.